in training.
Okay.
Let me know. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Okay. I'm going to call tonight's meeting of the Village Board, Monday, February 24th, 2020, to order. And would the clerk please call the roll?
Jacobson,
Yes.
Horton,
Here.
Carpenter, Peterson,
Here.
Bollig,
Here.
Donovan,
Here.
Glish.
Here.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Peggy. Next up, our public appearances. First, we have Laura Callan, and she's going to entertain us with a water impact fee needs assessment.
Thank you for that introduction.
Don't let us down now.
Yeah, I know. Well, so last year I was here entertaining you on water impact fees, and the village recognized the need to update the fee in light of some planned improvements in the water supply and storage components of its water system, which in turn were based on a 2017 study of the West Side water system. So armed with that study and some direction from the board, Stafford prepared a water impact fee needs assessment. And what this document does is provide the legal basis for the village to amend its water impact ordinance. And the needs assessment, the first step in the needs assessment was to quantify the costs of these three planned capital improvements to the water system. Those numbers were based on numbers provided in the water study and just adjusted for inflation. And from there, the impact fee, or the needs assessment goes through the analysis and calculates the maximum justifiable impact fee, which is $1,202 for a single-family home connection. And the rate increases with the size of the water meter. So that fee is $600 less than the current fee. And again, it is specifically designed so that new development pays its fair share of these three improvements. So that's just a broad overview of the needs assessment. The next step in the process of adopting an amendment to the water impact fee is to publish a notice of a public hearing and make the needs assessment available to the public. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds of the needs assessment and the method of calculating the fee, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. Before we move on to questions, I have a recommended motion before me here. The recommended motion is to set Monday, April 13th, 2020 as the public hearing date to consider amending sections 13.11 of the Village of Oregon Code of Ordinances to update public water facilities impact fee. If someone would like to bring that forward.
I'll move.
Randy? And
I'll second.
we got Amanda second. Okay, we've got a motion on the table. We're all set for questions now.
Jerry, just one clarifying question, if I could. Under the water impact fee calculation, there's a category called, I believe it's soft or adjusted, or soft costs. Is that the same thing as a contingency cost?
It's soft costs, which are defined by the statute as legal and engineering fees. So you're allowed to add 10% to the capital costs, the hard costs, to account for those soft costs in the project. So that's what it refers to.
With the increase in construction costs that we're facing in Dane County right now, do we have the ability to add contingency costs in case those construction costs start to escalate? even
You-
further?
Yes, you could, right now, the costs are based on the estimates provided by your engineers in '27, adjusted for inflation through 2020. If the costs change dramatically, the village certainly has authority to amend the needs assessment to reflect those cost changes and adjust the fee accordingly. But you'd have to go through the same process of amended needs assessment.
So it's an after-the-fact type of adjustment that you,
Right.
okay.
And that would be a way to very carefully tailor the fee to match exact costs of the project instead of estimated costs, which is what we're using for this needs assessment.
Thank you.
Is that your question, David?
That was it, yeah.
Okay, anyone else have a question? Seeing none, I have one. Assuming that this public hearing comes off as planned, when would this increase or decrease take effect?
We would try to publish the ordinance, Jerry, either on the 16th or 23rd of April.
Okay, so it would be in effect for 2020?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right.
Yeah.
Was that taken into consideration when we did the budget?
Mhm. Yes. A lower amount was considered at that point.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you-
Because when Laura came here on September 9th, and we had just the
Mhm.
initial, and so when Lisa and I prepared the budget, we actually used a lower amount in the
Okay.
budget.
I was just concerned that we might create a budget shortfall by doing this now. But if you've already budgeted for
I
it,
think we used $731.
We did, yeah, so we actually we use a lower amount than what we're proposing right now, so we'll be in good shape.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That answers my question.
yeah.
Anybody have any further information they would like from Laura? Or from the staff? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thanks for the entertainment. Item number 4 is approval of minutes. We have none. Item 5 is approval of vouchers. And we have vouchers we have operating fund invoices in the amount of $234,753.92. And we have items paid by electronic funds of $3,906,131.29 for a total for approval here tonight of $4,140,885.21. Would someone like to bring forward a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Either way. Was that Horton? Sure.
Corey made the motion. And,
Oh, David made the motion.
David, oh, okay,
And who seconded, I'm sorry? Corey did, thank you.
all right. Okay, anyone have any,
I have a question.
go ahead.
So, Mike, what's the Gorman TIF incentive?
It's part of the 2005 or 2006 TIP agreement we signed with Gary, where he pays us his property taxes, and he gets it back as an increment payment
Okay.
up to a certain amount. I think 20.
This was the last
Oh, this is the last
This is the
year?
last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the last
So
I
we'll-
just saw 43,000.
So in '21, we'll be able to use that money for debt service in the downtown area.
Okay, thank you.
This year we retained about, it was a little over 10,000.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions on the vouchers? Amanda?
Item 9395, the Wisconsin Supreme Court, I think it's a court judicial education, it says, for 700. Is that
Probably for the
a training for the municipal judges? or-
Probably out of their
I
budget.
didn't know that was,
And it's continuing education,
oh, like a class.
yeah, for the judge.
Okay, okay. I didn't know, it just said Wisconsin Supreme Court, and I thought, do they teach that, or does, what, how are they involved? I guess that's how it works.
You
It's
good with
fine.
that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from any other trustees? Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to the clerk for a roll call vote.
Horton,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Bollig,
Yes.
Donovan,
Yes.
Glish,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peggy. So the motion carries. Bills have been paid. Next, we have item 7, or actually item 6, community input. This is the part of the agenda that allows public to come forward and ask any questions they may have regarding anything not listed on the board's agenda. Okay, I don't see any. So we'll move on now to item number 7, which is our proclamations and announcements. Are there any board comments? Hearing none, I'll move on to staff comments. Item B.
I do have one. I just wanted, for anybody who is watching, the municipal clerk's office is required by state law to provide poll worker training once every 2 years. If anyone is interested in becoming a poll worker, we are holding training Tuesday, March 10th from 9 a.m. to noon, and Thursday, March 12th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. here at Village Hall in the community room. You are compensated for your time, and we do provide a meal for you, so.
A very good meal, I might add.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So you want to do the upcoming meetings?
Yeah, I haven't listed on there, Jerry. I think the one thing I want to bring to the board's attention is that we may actually have a special board meeting on March 30th to award the Highlands and Netherwood Park project. Because if we don't do it then we would not do it until April 13th, and I
Okay.
think, so we'll see how this all plays out.
And if we do it, I'm sure you'll find some other things for us to do that night.
I promise you.
We don't want to get bored.
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay. Is that it then, Mike?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. We'll move on to item 8, communication and miscellaneous business. Item A is Oregon Area Fire and EMS District Smoke Detectors Program. Who would like to explain that?
I can do that.
Okay.
This is a press release media release that came from the fire chief. And as you can see, if people are interested in trying to get a free smoke detector, contact the fire chief at 835-5587.
Thank you, Mike. Any other staff comments? Jeff is unusually quiet tonight. I'm getting nervous.
I like smoke detectors. Sorry, I was flustered with the TV screens weren't working right tonight, so
Okay,
we're still catching up to that.
all right. Are you on?
But I'm ready to be vocal once you're ready to spend some money.
Okay, I was becoming worried.
We can charge in, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So that's all the information you have on the smoke detector
Yes.
program?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay. Item B, we're still seeking an alternate park board member.
Yep.
And applications can be turned in or picked up at the village hall, but the information is on the village's website. Item C, Pam Hitz has resigned as a village representative on the Oregon Area Fire EMS Joint Board. I think the whole board and staff want to thank Pam for her service. Item D, discussion and possible action regarding 2020 street resurfacing and maintenance contract. I'd like someone to bring forward the recommended motion number 1. Award contract A, milling and resurfacing contract to Payne and Dolan in the amount of $334,012.25.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. We've got a motion and a second on the table,
Yep.
so go ahead.
Great, so this is our milling and resurfacing, so we take off the top 2 inches of asphalt and come back with a brand new surface of asphalt on top of it. It's a very nice, refreshing, and gives some structural stability to the roadways as well. We had two bids go out for that, or come back for that. And Payne and Dolan was the low bidder for that work, plus the supplemental items if we need them. And Payne and Dolan's actually done probably the last 2 or 3 rounds of this work for us, and they've always done an exceptional job. So I would recommend we approve that.
Very good. Any comments from the board on that, or questions?
One more comment I want to mention is there was a miscommunication between myself and our engineer, and so we're actually going to be bringing a second contract before you. That we actually have more funds than what our engineer realized we had for this year's contract for milling and crack filling. We want to stay up and catch up on our road maintenance, so we're actually going to be bringing a second contract out for bid. Hopefully we'll see as good a results on this. I'm anticipating we will, but just in case you happen to see that, it's a note at the end of my memo there, and that's the reasoning for that.
Very good. Do you want to list for those that might be watching at home, do you
Sure.
want to list the streets that are going to be done so they know if they're doing their street?
That's right. We need a drum roll. Okay, for contract A, it's Cherrywood Drive, Kennedy Drive, Lisa Court, Nygaard Street, Oakwood Drive, and a section of North Prairie Parkway, and Thomas Court, as well as East Richards Road.
Okay, and if the second, you're going to bring another resolution forward,
Correct.
what streets would that affect?
We're still firming that list up.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good. It's always nice to keep current with your street repair.
Yeah, all told, we expect to do about $670,000 worth of roadway surface maintenance this year.
You mean chip seal?
No, total chip seal and mill and overlay, total everything.
Very good. Okay. Any questions from the board?
Or no, even more than that, 960,000.
Should be able to do a few streets with that.
Exactly.
Okay. And again, there are no questions, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And we've got a second recommended motion here. Award contract B, which is crack filling and chip sealing contract to Farner Asphalt Sealers in the amount of $226,617. And
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
got a motion and a second, so go ahead.
All right, so this is like self-explanatory, basically crack filling and sealing, and then a seal coat, which is put down a binder, Corey, what do we call that stuff? The tack coat, and that's a sticky stuff, and then the rocks go down on top, the small tiny pebbles go down on top of that stick, and it basically helps improve the wearing surface, gives some additional life out of the roadway, and what we'll actually start to see in some of these major roads, we're kind of a little higher this year, but it's doing some very large roadways. Alpine Parkway, Augusta Drive, Bergamot Boulevard, from Drumlin Drive all the way to Lincoln Road, Drumlin Drive, Dunn Avenue, Netherwood Street, and Medina Street. As well as some alternate ones on Hillcrest Drive, Riviera, Vineyard, and so you're going to start to see basically some of these roads where you go, well, I thought those were fairly new roads. Well, after about 8 to 10 years, you want to come in and do a seal coat and seal with that crack filling.
Very good.
Yep.
Did you think of the technical name for the stuff that you?
It's an asphalt emulsion.
Asphalt emulsion. That is correct.
All right.
Sticky black asphalt.
Yeah, black
stuff.
sticky stuff.
Black sticky stuff that makes the rock stick to the roadway.
Okay. Any questions from the trustees tonight on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item E, which is discussion and possible action regarding the 2020 sanitary sewer and manhole rehabilitation contract award. And I think first I'd like to get the motion on the table. It's to award the 2020 sanitary sewer and manhole rehabilitation contract to McCann's Underground in the amount of $166,913.25.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All right. So we've been talking about the I&I, the infiltration and inflow that we've been experiencing in our wastewater stream. If you remember from any of the facility plans, they say our flows at the plant are higher than we would be expected. with our population, and that's due to high groundwater conditions and leaky pipes, cracked pipes, leaky manholes, and that type of stuff. So this is our first project that we're really going to be attacking that. So it's lining bad sections of pipe, it's lining manholes, it can be doing slip liners, grouting, that type of thing. And so this is the first of that. We'll probably be wanting to do one of these projects probably annually for a while until we can catch up.
Any questions from the trustees on this? Go ahead, Corey.
In the recommendations, I see that there's a recommendation to include a 10% contingency, and I'm wondering, does our motion need to include that 10% contingency, or how do we deal with that?
Where do you see that?
In Town and Country's memo?
In the second last paragraph of their letter, Judge.
Well, we've included all of the supplementary unit prices. The likelihood that we're gonna use all of those, I mean, that's kind of on an as-needed basis. We do have funds available that we could easily bring a change order back if that's necessary.
Okay.
And again, this is budgeted, I assume.
Yes, yep, budgeted and borrowed.
Okay. Any further questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now to spend some real money.
Yes, can't wait. Item F, discussion and possible action regarding the 2020 street and utility improvements for Park Street and Janesville Street. We've got a recommended motion to get on the table here, and that is to award the 2020 street and utility improvements, and that includes Park Street, Janesville Street contract to Fisher Excavating of Freeport, Illinois, in the amount of $1,969,881. Could I please ask someone to bring that forward?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
I don't care.
Good.
Randy.
Well, I have the diagram up. I just want to really quickly go through what the extent of this project is. There was some confusion. I won't say who, but our administrator was confused of the extent of this. No, just on my exhibit here, I had pointed approximate project limits, and basically it's everything that's in the yellow area here. There's some. This is an exciting and important project for us. As you can understand, the intersection down here has been a concern and difficult for turning movements. Intersection improvement, new asphalt, new pavement, all the way to the limits you see. And then, I don't know if you remember, we did the Wolf Street kind of intersection, what was that, in 2008?
Something like that.
2008.
Yeah.
And then that left a tiny little spot from here right to about here that hadn't been done, and we really didn't want to not be done, so we've extended the project limits out to here, as well as extending the water main down Janesville Street. Right now we have, I don't know if anyone was out there recently, maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a water main break. That's an old 4-inch main there's actually a 4-inch main and an 8-inch main, both in the middle of the street. We had a break in the 4-inch main. So it's very opportune time that we are replacing this. So we're talking about extending 12-inch water main all the way down Janesville Street to the intersection, connecting into 12-inch main to the north, and then running 12-inch main all the way down Park Street to this point down here at where it joins with Lexington, with the thought that when the village does expand across 138, we'll be able to use a directional drill under Highway 14 to be able to connect water over to that side of what hopefully would be the village at that time. We also, if you remember, we had a pretty large fire at the end of Lexington about 3 years ago, during probably one of the windiest days in the village. And even though we were able to fight that fire very successfully and quickly, we did notice lower pressures than what we liked. And so that's going to really help this area, because that's a very constricted area along there. It's going to tear up a lot of things. It's going to be a very busy summer, spring and summer, but Fisher Excavating is really anxious to get out there and moving as soon as possible. So we'll come back with you with more schedule and everything. But we got really good activity on the bids. We had 6 complete bids received. Fisher Excavating was the low bid. Our engineers have done some due diligence in researching them. And they've heard some really nice things. They're out of Freeport, Illinois, which is a little unusual for our area, but have good experience with them, and they're recommending that we go ahead with their price.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Any questions for Jeff? David?
Any conflict with what's going to be done with the replacement of the bridge on 14?
Maybe. Well, this is one of those things that's I always say try to schedule around the DOT project, because honestly, I think it might work out really well. And my hope is that while they're shutting down that area for the through traffic, ours would be shut down as well during that same time period. But they still are maintaining through traffic, one lane through each direction at all times, regardless of utility or roadway construction.
Follow up, if I might.
Go right ahead, David.
My concern is that if we rebuild this and get ahead of the highway construction, that the construction that we do is adversely impacted because of extra weight or extra truck traffic or whatever might be needed for that construction. Would it be better for us to wait or at least be on the tail end of their construction schedule?
Yeah, it's not a bridge reconstruction, it's just a bridge resurfacing. And so it's really just bridge deck improvements. I don't believe, I've not been given where they're planning their routes for delivery of items. They're gonna be under legal loads anyhow. And I would, personally, I would recommend, their schedules kind of shift around quite a bit too. We've been following this bridge deck replacement project for 3 years.
Yep, I'll say 3 years.
And you know how funding goes and priorities go. I do think it will be this summer with the project. It's getting much closer, but I think we'll be fine.
Any further questions for Jeff regarding the Park Street and Janesville Street
I
reconstruction?
think Corey has a question, Jeff.
Oh, Corey, go ahead.
I guess with the businesses along there, let's just make sure that we communicate to them, what the timelines, obviously that's gonna have a big impact to the vet and the hotel and all of that through there. Having the one-way traffic is nice, but it's still gonna be an impact to those businesses.
Yeah, we had a nice turnout at the public information meeting, real positive feedback. That the concern is always, like you say, from businesses. Brian, the engineer on the project with Town and Country, has already met with the vet clinic personally to talk to them about that. And we've talked to the manager there at the hotel, as well as Supreme Structures, which we're not sure, if there'll be anything going on that corner this year. But, yep.
Any other questions from staff, or, from the board? Okay, well, I assume that this isn't gonna cause a problem with all the other resurfacing and street improvements that we're planning this year.
Yeah, we're in different parts of the village for that work. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Although there is, just so you know, there is a portion of this contract that involves, you saw additional painting, roadway painting. We're putting it under this contract for work that's being done under the mill and overlay project, just because they're already gonna need to have a painting crew at this project, and that'll be easier and cheaper in the long run for us just to put it under this project.
does that include some of the crosswalks that we're doing?
The crosswalks actually, we can talk about that. The crosswalks, we're recommending, it's kind of I call it a thermoplastic, embedded thermoplastic type crosswalk, okay? You have your choice of whether you just paint crosswalks. This is a very difficult area to paint just with the traffic and everything. And so one of the ideas that came out of the process was to use maybe a more expensive, well, it is a more expensive alternative, but it's a zero maintenance type of product. And Corey, I don't know if you've seen this stuff. It's up in like Sauk City.
I've used it a lot in the past. It's nice because it's actually embedded into the pavement, so it does last a lot longer than a surface applied epoxy.
It's high visibility, good traction. It's very evident, and it looks really sharp. So I think it'll be a nice addition.
So how does it get embedded? Do they melt it into the pavement?
They
heat it, okay.
Yeah, they actually heat the pavement, and it's like it's almost like an imprint. If you were stepping it and create a boot print, that kind of thing. And then And then there's the plastic beads, I guess it is, that go in it, and then those are melted, and that becomes one with the asphalt.
Very good. Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Move on to item G, which is an FYI only, regarding accurate appraisal and their appraisals this year. Mike, you want to take this one?
Peggy, I mean, basically, as I state on the agenda, Accurate has to send this letter to properties that are being visited per the Department of Revenue.
Okay, so if you're going to need to be appraised this year, you'll
Yep.
get something in the mail.
Yeah, right, Peggy?
Correct.
Correct.
All right. Item H, Peggy is going to give us the spring election results.
Well, we had a 20% turnout for the Supreme Court race last week. So that was about 1,400 voters that came out to vote. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions about anything.
Any questions for Peggy regarding the spring election? Amanda?
Not a question, just a comment that it seemed to run very smoothly. Nice job, as usual.
Yeah, very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the staff.
The volunteers looked happy when I came down there. That's all that matters, right?
Yes.
Got to keep them happy so they come back. If there's nothing further on this agenda item, let's move on to the item A, or item I, discussion of possible action regarding ordinance number 20-04, amending section 1.37 of the Code of Ordinances, renaming the Room Tax Commission to the Tourism Commission. And let's get the first motion on the table. Suspend the rules and waive the first and second reading at tonight's meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any questions? Any explanation on this?
I think that the main explanation is that when Elise and I were looking at preparing a grant application, which the Tourism Commission or Room Tax Commission is going to look at, almost every other community has their commission named Tourism, because it's more in keeping with what they're doing. And we just thought it'd be more modern to call it tourism, to be honest with you.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions regarding that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Move on to the second motion to consider. Now that we've suspended the rules, we may now consider adopting ordinance 20-04.
Move approval.
I'll second it.
Second, okay? I guess that's self-explanatory. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ordinance 20-04 has been adopted. Item 9 is reports of committees. We have none. And item 10, minutes not requiring action. We have none. We have no unfinished business. Under item 12, new business, I don't see anything here. And we've got some future agenda items. Anyone have questions on the future agenda items? Hearing none. Item 14 is adjournment.
I move to adjourn,
I'll second that
if
one.
we need that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Good job, Dan.
No, 2 hours to read the packet, half an hour.
Was that quick enough for you, Dan?
Jerry, whatever you do is always good enough for me.
I was get that today, and I was like,
Careful there.
yeah, you might get a big head.
No. David he deflates it when he needs
As
to.
fast as I inflate it.
It goes both ways.
I told my husband I thought it would be good tonight. He's like, yeah, you'll have a topic that you guys can. I know. I am. You know what to do that.
I'd be actually fine. I'd be fine.
When's Accurate coming through? They're gonna come to my house.
That's right.
It'll be
You
before
done with
April.
this?
I didn't even look at it. We had